in Illustrator, but I thought it would also be very helpful to make a video for those of you who are going to be working in Photoshop for your project. This is set up very similar to the Illustrator version of a template. The only difference is that layers are a little bit easier to manage, in my opinion, inside of Photoshop. So if you take a look at the folders here in the layers panel, that means that each of these folders consists of whatever you're going to put within these panels. So you want to make sure that while you're placing things into your project that you are in the correct folder. So I'm going to go to the front design here, and I'm going to bring in my sketch, and I had it downloaded on the computer. So I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and you should have received an email from me with your sketch in it, and I broke it up into two pictures to make it easier for you to find. And I'm just trying to find mine. I believe it's on my desktop, probably in my serial folder. Yes. Okay. So this is my back sketch, and then this is my front. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my front in, and I'm going to start to lay this out. I would put your sketches in each layer folder first, and then as you move from one to the other, you can just switch artboards. So that's in my front design. Then we're going to move into the back, and I'm going to do the same thing. File, Place Embedded, and now I have this here. So I have taken the time ahead of this project to put in the necessary parts to my serial box in my Creative Cloud library. If you don't have them in your Creative Cloud library, you might have them in your downloads, but you should have the Kellogg's logo. You should have possibly a picture of your cereal box, the nutritional bubbles, and then you should also have an image of the nutritional facts panel that I shared with you. Okay, nothing's going to go into the top design except just a rectangle, so I'm just going to draw that rectangle right now, and I can go back and fill it in color later. Just make sure you have it covering the entire artboard. And it's just one color, so if you take it off the side of the artboard, it's okay. Okay. And then we're going to take a look at the side design. The side design is coming right from my library, because inside of my Serial Box Creative Cloud library, I had saved this. But again, if you have this in your downloads, you would just do File, Place Embedded instead of doing it like this. And it's important to remember that you have a border along the edges so that none of this type is going to be taken right to the edge, because that will look really messy when you go to snap it into the mockup. So you want to get this centered with the artboard, giving yourself a little buffer room of white around it. Okay, and I can adjust things if I want to. Now, if you'd like to be a little bit more protective of your layers, you can go ahead and lock these. I would definitely go ahead and lock the top and the side. Yeah, I would lock the back too, just so you can keep everything protected. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this, but I am going to show you how I would bring in images, including the logo and the nutritional bubbles. I have a maze as well. I made a word search on the computer. I gave you that website to, I think it's Discovery Education. So that's another image that I'm using, and I'm going to be able to place them onto the artboard. The rest of it needs to be done with rectangles for background colors. You need to paint your mascots or your your items, your images that represent the cereal, and then you're also going to need to use your text boxes and text to type in all of the written information. Okay, so I'll just show you briefly how I would start this. So if I'm on the front, I'm just gonna first of all start with a rectangle. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give myself a colored box. And this always confuses students because it's not quite the same as it is in Illustrator about how do we fill in rectangles. But when you have the rectangle tool on, you have the option to come up and choose your fill color here. Once you click off of this, the best thing to do is to go back to that rectangle, turn on the rectangle tool, and then choose the fill color. I don't want a stroke for this, and actually temporarily I'm going to turn my fill off so that I can see underneath for now. I'll go back later at the end and fill in my color. And then I would go to my library, find my Kellogg's logo, which I already made for you as a ping, and adjust it so that it doesn't go off the edge. Same thing with the nutritional facts. There is a PSD version and an Illustrator version, so I'm going to grab my Photoshop version that I have of the nutritional bubbles. Oop, I have to hit return. Let's grab the bubbles. Make sure that they don't go off the edge as well. And this is probably not an industry term. They're probably not called nutritional bubbles. I just happen to call them that for you. And you can make adjustments. Maybe I don't like the fact that it's right in front of my strawberry, so I might draw my strawberry and move it around a little bit more and kind of change and tweak the sketch. If something's in your way and you can't turn off a fill color like the rectangle, just use your eyeball and you can just turn it off temporarily. Okay, I would go through this entire thing adding in my details. My top design I would go back to, unlock it, grab that rectangle, turn on my rectangle tool, and then change the color there. If you want to give your side design the same color rectangle, since it's going to have to match, so you would create a rectangle that would fall underneath the nutritional facts. So I would make my rectangle making sure that it's underneath this and give it the same color that matches throughout the entire design. Once you're done, you are going to go ahead and save this as a PSD just like before. Okay, so just save it as a regular Photoshop file to your Creative Cloud. And then the most important thing is you need to export this, but you've got to make sure that you export each artboard separately. We have to be able to separate them so we can put them onto the mockup. So when you go to export as, you're going to see a list here of all the different layers. You want to make sure that this is all selected. That way, when we go to export them, they'll be separated and you can snap them into the mockup. Okay, so you would export and have all 4 of your layers ready to go for the mockup. Okay, and then you would turn in the ping file, this file, to me for the assignment.